All right, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say, call on Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, my Father in heaven. Much love to Yahweh Shai, his only begotten Son, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and other names that don't have no power. Um, Much love to the beautiful chosen, whoever that may be among Israel that's in the new covenant. Shout out to the beautiful Akim, the brothers that's in the word. And they do everything in their power to show you how about Shem Yahushua that they love and they fear him. Much love to the beautiful Akwaf, the beautiful women that's in the word. And it might not be a lot of y'all. Whether you got a man or not, you still fear the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh. You listen and you learn in silence. Coming back at you with a part 2 of the letters of the Lord. And just coming back and with a follow-up. This is the picture of the Tower of Babel that reached the heavens, or it could have been even taller, with the technology that they had. Everybody knows the story about Nimrod being one of the first presidents in history. Um, and he very wicked man. The story about the birth of Christmas in ancient times. Ishtar worship go way back. Him and his ancestry, with him being with his mother or falling in love with his mother. You had all the nations gather, or all the peoples of the world gather, because they had one language. I do believe the language at the beginning in the beginning of the earth's early stages was Hebrew. I do believe, um, or Paleo Hebrew to be correct. Um, according to the story, they built a tower that was so high that it went into the heavens, and Yahweh had saw the tower and ordered the angels to destroy the tower. And we can get a quick verse about that. Genesis 11, chapter 1. It says, "Now the whole world had one language and a common speech. As people moved eastward, they found the plain of Shinar and settled there. There they said to each other, 'Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly.' They used brick instead of stone, and tar for mortar. Then they said, 'Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth.' But Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower the people were building. Yahweh said, 'If, as one people speaking the same language, they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them.' It says, 'Come and let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other.' It says, so Yahweh scattered them from there all over the earth, and they stopped building the city. That's why it was called Babel, because there Yahweh confused the language of the whole world. From there, Yahweh scattered them from over the face of the earth. And it goes into the genealogy from Shem to Abraham. And we could stop right there. Now, the Tower of Babel actually is being rebuilt spiritually with this beast system and this chip. Um, and so this is the mindset of the white people and the elites. And we can go back to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10. And with the chip, they try to have everybody like the Tower of Babel, everybody with one language. And like Yahweh said, he had to stop them. Least nothing would be impossible for them to do. If they can reach heaven, then they could be gods. And if they could be gods, they can be like Yahweh, and they can live among the gods, which are Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai, and the Alahayim, the powers, during those ancient times. And that was certainly not allowed. So it's the same thing. Mark of the Beast is the same thing as the representation as the Tower of Babel. Through my studies and listening to the prophets, or the people that know what they're talking about, other people, and it is true. They all these Edomites plan to bind everybody to this electronic chip. Um, one of the things that one of the Lord's powers is omnipresence. He can be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. So, meaning that he's in every living thing. He's in everything. He's in the animals. He's in the trees. He's in the air. He's in the sun. He's in the moon. He's in the stars. He's in the people. He's in the animals. He's in the water. He's in the snow. He's everywhere. There is nothing. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding good and evil. So, what they're trying to do is achieve that through technology and through this beast system and this Mark of the Beast chip that they will display shortly to come, because when the dollar collapses, they want to still be in power. So they transfer everything to a digital currency, and that will be the digital currency. It'll be trackable, and people will be held accountable for what they spend and what they do. Um, and like I said, you cannot buy and sell unless you have the mark, and the mark 666. That's the patent for it. Um, and this will allow the white man to achieve omnipresence, to where he's everywhere and he's nowhere at the same time. And that will make him a form of a god. See, but that's to a degree. And, when that happens, the Lord Yahweh will be outraged. And, by then it'll be war. But the Lord is going to turn it up on him a notch, and it's going to be extreme chaos, extreme devastation. And then the Lord is going to bring the nuclear event to destroy him, because in the eyes of Yahweh, that's disrespectful, and to try and if Yahweh will allow him, like he said, if Yahweh would allow him to achieve omnipresence, then the next thing that he would then nothing would be impossible to him. Like I said, with the Tower of Babel, he would be able to achieve other things like more advanced technology, to move to other planets, because he already got the control over living beings. He's already tried that. He's already done that to a degree with the technology that he has. He can travel to Mars or whatever, building whatever he's building, making spaceships, trying to sail into the stars and multiply to other planets that are vacant, or invade other life, even though, if Yahweh did make other life and other sentient beings, I don't think they would tolerate, that, for them to be attacked and to be put into slavery and to be slaughtered, and they wouldn't even be bound by flesh or emotions. But it's just simple fact that the Lord would never allow it, and that is the boundary that he cannot pass. So Yahweh wouldn't allow him to achieve, divine weapons of indignation. He already trying to figure out how to control the weather, create new animals, He got people that in their mind that is different types of humans besides men and women. Like transvestites or femboys or bisexuals or um, or um, or homosexual, bestiality. Um, what's another one? Dominatrix. You know, these mainly the genders that people talk about. They identify as. Other than men and women, is different kinds of people out there, which it shouldn't exist, but it does. Because this is Yahweh showing what not to do and how not to run a kingdom. So that right there is an outrage to the Lord as well, and it will be taken care of. But the Lord is allowing it to happen so you can see what happens when an enemy of Yahweh Shem Yahushai tries to contend with him or compete with him or challenge him to a fight. So we can get to Jeremiah 10, and we'll get back on schedule. It says, Jeremiah 10, verse 1, it says, "Hear ye the word of Yahweh speaketh unto you, O Israel." Because, back to the letters of the Lord, I just wanted to give you the short story of the Tower of Babel and how it compares to the beast system in Revelation. So it says, "Thus says Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them." Because the signs of the sun and the moon and the stars and the sky itself, different constellations say different things and say different messages. So, these heathens, whether they study or they can see it with their own eyes, they know that their time is near, especially if they read the Bible, and the Bible do talk about the signs and the suns and the moon and the stars, and it heralds their end, but it's not the end of the children of Israel. It's not the end of the Israelites. So just because the age of the white man is coming to an end, or the end of the world, is actually the end of their world and the beginning of all the destruction and the end of this golden era, as what they will call it, and ushering in a new era, a new eon, a new time frame and a rebirth to the world, to where the world don't have to suffer because of tyranny and rule, and demonic rulership, and the world is hurt. Even the world is in pain. You got these earthquakes. It was an earthquake that just happened, reported 9 minutes ago. Russia had a big earthquake, and it was the biggest earthquake in of all time. And the shockwave flew through Hawaii and made it to California. And I wouldn't be surprised if we had an earthquake like Boxing Day. One of the biggest earthquakes of all time that the whole world felt. Boxing Day was bad. So, with that being said, you see the signs of the times, and like I said in the Bible, it said there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and they are, and it's going to get much worse, and it's just a sign of the white man's rulership coming to an end. His world is going to be destroyed in order to usher in ours. It's that simple. So it says, "For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the handsman, no, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe." That's that Christmas. It says, "They deck it with silver and gold. They fast it with nails and with hammers, that it not move." And that can go into the cross and other idols, that are not gods, and wicked holidays that should not be. Nowadays they got a holiday for even the months, let alone days. Father's Day, I think last month that just passed, or this month was men's mental health month, stupid shit like that. Electronic Day, Juneteenth, that the black people have made up for themselves. You got the Christmas, the holiday, the wicked ass holidays, the worst times of the year. Christmas, Halloween, and Valentine's Day. You know, and they pretty much try to make every day a fucking holiday nowadays. It's just retarded. People don't realize how much they celebrate, and it's even going to the wrong power. It's just ridiculous. 4th of July, you know, that just passed recently, and it's just stupid. So it says they are upright as the palm tree. They speak not. They must be born. No, they must needs be born, because they cannot be. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also in them to do good. These idols that feel like when the end times come and they kick in, you're gonna have people praying to Buddha, you're gonna have people praying to Kali, you're gonna have people praying to Jesus Christ, you're gonna have people praying to what's that other god, Zeus. You're gonna have people praying to all these gods that can't help and can't do anything, especially in the Jesus one, because that one is related. No, that is a counterfeit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua and his son, but it's just white supremacy. So it's going to be extreme confusion when these gods don't descend and they don't protect them, because they don't exist. So it says, for as much as there is none like unto thee, O Yahweh, thou art great, and thy name is great in might. His name has power. His name is the only name that holds weight. It's Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and his son is Yahushai. Then you got the Alahayim, which includes Yahushai and the angels, the chief and the powers, which they God in Paleo Hebrew. Then you got the Yasharallah, which are the princes of the power, the Israelites. So that is the whole family with Yahweh Shem Yahushai at the top. It says, who would not fear thee, O King of nations? For to thee doth it appertain, for as much as among all the wise men of the nations and all their kingdoms, there is none like thee. That's right. There is no power like Yahweh Shem Yahushai. No power. It says, but they are altogether brutish and foolish. The stock is a doctrine of vanities. That's right. All them library books, all, Book of Mormon, the Book of the Quran. What's another book? The Emerald Tablet book. What's another book? It's all kinds of divinity books that are just stupid, and they gods don't exist. So that shit is just nothing but like witchcraft, evil spirits. But at the end of the day, they can't call on their God and have them descend, so they don't exist. It's just nothing but vanity. It says, and they be having big ass libraries for miles, big ass libraries, and they full of nothing but lies. So it says, silver is spread into plates, is brought from Tarshish, and gold to Uphaz, the work of the workman, and the hands of the founder. Blue and purple is their clothing. They are all the work of cunning men. It says, right, they got the best of the best. They got everything. These men, these philosophers, these scientists, these people, these government officials and shit. They got the best of the best. But it says, but Yahweh is the true God. He is the living God. It says, in an everlasting King. It says, at his wrath the earth shall tremble. That's what's happening with the biggest earthquake, 8.8, Russia. Shockwave through California and Hawaii. It says, and the nations shall not be able to abide his indignation. That's right. You ain't gonna be able to escape it. It says, thus shall you say unto them, the gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, even they shall perish from the earth and from under these heavens. That's right. So, even these men perceive themselves, these presidents and these elites perceive themselves to be gods too, and the Lord said they're not, and they're not going to be able to survive what's about to happen to the earth. So it says, he hath made the earth by his power, he hath established the world by his wisdom, and hath stretched out the heavens by his discretion. It says, when he uttered his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heavens, and he causes vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. Right? He made clouds. It says, and you look up at everything that he made: sun, moon, stars, the sky, creation, people, buildings. That's all from the Lord. It says, he maketh lightning with rain, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasuries. Every man is brutish in his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven images. That's right. They believe in these gods, and they feel like from their long life of living, or what they done studied, or they done got a college degree, they done got a high school diploma, or something higher than that, bachelor's degree, or whatever, or they've been indoctrinated, initiated into some government party, or they some sort of smart ass scientist or some geologist. They feel like they know it all, and they don't. So it says, for his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. So that can go into the church, that goes into um, these false gods, and they have no power. But people, they feel like they know it. These pastors feel like they know everything. Certain scholars feel like they know everything, and they don't. It says, they are vanity in the work of errors. In the time of their visitation, they shall perish. Right. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, meaning that they are the gods that the nations should worship. It says, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, is his name. Those are the gods that Yahweh created. Remember, you got Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you have Yahweh Shai, then you got the Elohim, which includes Yahweh Shai, which is the God of this world and the God of the universe. And then you have the Yasharal, the princes of the power, which are the Israelites. And the men come first, but they are all gods. The men, women, and children, all the children of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai are lower gods and gods in flesh that represent Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. They do. They are direct descendants, grandchildren of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. They are the gods that the world should be worshiping. So it says, gather up thy wares out of the land, O inhabitant of the fortress. It says, for thus saith Yahweh, I will sling out the inhabitants of the land at this once. It says, and will distress them, that they may find it so. So that can mean that represent Israel right now, with the fake Jews and the fake Israelites making an exodus because the war is intensifying between Israel and Iran. So that right there is an indicator to that precept. It says, woe is me for my hurt. My wound is grievous. But I said, truly, this is grief, and I must bear it. My tabernacle is spoiled, and all my cords are broken. My children are gone forth from me, and they are not. There is none to stretch forth my tent any more and set up my curtains. For the pastors have become brutish and have not sought Yahweh. Therefore they shall not prosper, and their flocks shall be scattered. Yup, the collapse of the Christianity. The collapse of Christianity, and the collapse of other religions too, because everybody's starting to notice who the true power is, and everybody noticing that, with the fall of Israel right now, everybody's looking like, okay, so these niggas, these Mexicans, and these Indians are the true children of Israel, and they are. So they starting to realize who Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is. His name is spreading out throughout the whole world, and these prophecies is kicking off so bad to the point where it's about to have everybody's attention. So it says, behold, the noise of the brute is come, and a great commotion of the north country. This is America. We in the north, to make the cities of Judah desolate, in a den of dragons. Dragon can represent tyranny or wisdom. They're talking about these white people ruling over the children of Israel, and them being desolate, poor, drugged out, gang banged out, prostituted out, overworked out, overpowered by their oppressors. Like I said, it can represent tyranny or wisdom. So it says, O Yahweh, it says, I know the way of man is not himself. Is it not man that walketh to direct his steps? It's not. This is all meant by the will of Yahweh. We are all a part of a movie and a story. All of us have roles and is meant to be played out as diverse as they are. It is true. So the white man is meant to be the enemy, and the Israelites, they are the heroes. They are the main character. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is the director and the creator, and his son Yahushai is the main is the all-star. He's the all-star character, you know. So Yahweh Hashem Yahushai had all of this preordained. It says, "Oh Yahweh, correct me, but with judgment, not in thine anger, lest thou bring me to nothing." Right. None of us would last. If the Lord wanted to destroy us all, he could wipe this whole world out with fire, burn and kill everybody, kill all life, and restart it again. He don't really need to do this with the children of Israel, but because his name, he promised on his name, and he promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob with the old covenant, the new covenant, everything that he promised, it must come to pass. He swore. So he's going to keep his promise with the children of Israel, and he's going to graft them in, make them gods, permanent gods over all the nations, and make them a part of him so they like him, clean, and they going to worship Yahweh forever and be gods with Yahweh Hashem Yahushai forever. So it says, pour out thy fury upon the heathen that know thee not, and upon the families that call on thy name, that call not on thy name, for they have eaten up Jacob, right? We have been devoured him and consumed him, and have made his habitant desolate. So through destiny, Jacob is meant to be the gods that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai established permanently. You know? So the Lord knows who's responsible for their destruction and for their constant oppression. We are isolated out of the the elite, the richest, because you got a couple of rich Israelites. Yeah, that's true. But we all supposed to be rich. Now there's a thought. We all supposed to be rich. We all supposed to be famous. We are not glorified the way we're supposed to. You leaving, like I said, I made a joke. I said even a homeless Israelite on the street is worth more than an elite. That is true, because they are the gods. A homeless god on the street, and he just laying there, just these curses and all of the shit that done happened to us, and for the nations just to leave us like that. Nobody came to defend us. Nobody came to save us. You got Africa talking about return to the motherland, return to Africa. We don't want to return to. We don't want to just return to Africa. We want to go back to Israel and take over Africa. That's the whole fucking point. We don't want to just come and be a part of the residents of the Hamites and be under their rule. No. That's not how the game go. We want rulership of the world, and Yahweh Hashem Yahushai knows that, and he's going to acknowledge that. So let me get one more precept. This is Isaiah 55, chapter 55, verse 8 through 9, King James Version. It says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways are my ways, saith Yahweh. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways." The Lord is a gajillion times ahead of us. And like they said, they think the heathens and these white people and these other nations, they think they can perceive the way the Lord think and how Yahweh Hashem Yahushai feel. When that is not the case. The Lord don't want no fucking genocide on his people. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai don't want the total destruction and the annihilation of Israel. He doesn't want them to go into slavery. He doesn't want white supremacy to rule forever. He doesn't want the white man to be the gods. He doesn't. So what they think in their mind is right is hella wrong. And they are about to figure that out. And like I said, for the children of Israel, that's another letter to them, letting them know to repent and to come back to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai before it's too late, or the Lord don't mind disposing of y'all too. Sure, he got the reincarnation wheel. He'll kill you and bring you back. That's power right there. So, with that, I'll conclude this lesson, and I'm going to download this ASAP to whoever's listening. Much love. Call on Yahweh Hashem Yahushai in the name Yahushai. I'll be back with another video, clean out my phone so I can go to the highways and byways and get a full hour in. But this will do. And with that, on to the next video. Shalom.